I wrote something that I really want to share with you today because it's about the stock market, the economy, recession, so many other aspects of everything that are happening right now. So I'm going to tell you, I'll pull out certain parts of what I wrote because this is a Peter Leeds Insider exclusive just for Peter Leeds Insiders, but I still think that you're going to really benefit from hearing some of the comments I made in this article. And I always ask you guys early on, please click like so that we can help more people like us to help more people like us. We have to get the message out because a lot of people are looking the wrong way. They're not expecting or not understanding what's going on right now. This is the big economic pivot, and we'll get into that when I tell you some of the highlights from the Insider exclusive. And of course, we're going to start with the big one, the stock markets overall. They've been a little bit weaker than you're used to, I'm sure. Every significant stock market crash starts with several days or weeks of ugly action, just like now. Perhaps market manipulation will resurrect the indices, but ideally, and notice I say ideally, further downside will help these overvalued markets to deleverage and return to health. And I go on to talk about Magnificent Seven, which is Amazon, Alphabet, Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, Tesla, and Meta platforms. And I've been talking to you guys for quite a long time, months now, telling you to get out of the Magnificent Seven stocks, get out of a lot of the high flyers, the really speculative risk on assets, even cryptocurrencies, which are a massive risk on asset. But what I said exactly is that if you own any of those, then you haven't been listening to me. While I still expect further declines, Tesla is the one that may continue to fall the hardest. A global social uprising against Tesla is unprecedented and may prove fully destructive with no path to recovery for the company. And I go on then to talk about real estate, which is one of the aspects of the economy that's going to have the biggest change in a short amount of time. And I talk about how when we get into the recession, that's going to take care of the two problems, the lack of availability and the lack of affordability. Both of those are completely cured as soon as the recession rolls into town, which is perhaps right now, maybe 3 months from now. It doesn't matter. We are recessing, the economy is turning the corner, we're in a massive economic pivot. This is what I've been talking about in the pivot video, this is what I'm talking about now. Everything, all the rules for everything you've seen in the stock market for years now as the bubble inflated will be quite opposite to what you're used to. That's why everyone's freaking out that some stocks have come down, that they can't believe they came down. They're talking about how high it's going to go and it's going the other way, and now they're freaking out, not understanding it. Everything is clear. You can see it years ahead of time and watch it the whole way, which is what you and I have been doing. But speaking of which, I was going to put out Gold 3000, my new video, which is why you want to subscribe and click the alert bell because you want to get this right when it comes out. And I know that gold prices are not at 3,000 yet, but the point of the video is that I show you meticulously, surgically, why gold prices will blow through 3,000. I tell you even how fast it's going to go from 3 to 4,000. But that's in the next video, so make sure you subscribe so you can get it. And instead, we're going to talk about some more important pressing things right now. The approaching recession, which we would have had entered with or without the bumbling rollout of tariffs, will show up stronger and sooner because of the uncertainty. Problems of availability and affordability will both be fixed during the upcoming period of negative growth and rising unemployment. Now stick with me here because I want to get to the part about the unemployment. That's the most important part, and this is why I'm telling you certain sections of this Peter Leeds Insider exclusive. As the recession begins, unemployment will rise into double-digit territory. Businesses will suffer, with many falling into bankruptcy, as we're seeing now in a lot of the charts. I can show you on screen right now a chart of corporate bankruptcies, and you can see they trend how they're rising already. This doesn't get better, it gets worse first. Numerous American banks will find themselves overextended with half-empty office buildings in their mortgage portfolios. The risk-on trade, Bitcoin, Magnificent Seven stocks, will continue to unwind, taking those assets down with them. We're going to talk about how oil prices are going to continually drop and pretty quickly. OPEC Plus is expanding their output. The recession and the economic uncertainty, economic weakness globally is all factoring into less demands on energy usage. In times of economic weakness, the demands on energy decline, just like the demands on copper. American policy confusion reduces demand. The bigger picture involves global weakness, which is pretty significant. Overall, short of military flare-ups, there are a few forces which may increase the prices of crude oil. Then I go on to talk about how everything I'm talking about in the economic pivot video applies, and it's happening right now. So make sure to see that so you can understand the philosophy here of how everything is going from this way to that way all at once, and everyone's reacting surprised, even though we've been talking about this happening, coming up for such a long time now. You guys knew what was going to happen. You guys are prepared. You guys are in the right types of investments. A lot of people are still hanging on to Magnificent Seven. They're not even looking at what they own. They don't realize that. And like I told you recently, the big 1929 stock market crash was several months in before they realized they were in a crash. That's exactly the same what it's going to be like right now. If this is the moment where the markets are going to start coming down and going back to realistic levels, we'll be in that for months before we realize that we're in it. You need to be acting, preparing right now. And I'm not giving you personalized trading advice. I do not do that. The great economic pivot I explained in this video is literally happening right now. It has begun and will clearly emerge as we enter the recession I've been speaking about for quite some time. Everything is playing out exactly as it has so many other times. And bear with me, I'm going to talk about the massive negative economic news we're getting, but I'm leading up to why I'm telling you double-digit unemployment is going to be getting here at breakneck speed. Here's a chart of monthly job creation in the United States. While we're still creating jobs, the entire picture is feeling pretty tired. Job growth was weaker than expected in February as Trump administration began to slash the federal workforce. And the unemployment rate came out at 4.1%. And my premise, and what you're going to know now too, is that we're going double digits unemployment pretty quickly, and I'll tell you meticulously, specifically, surgically, some of the reasons that are going to be driving that. Unemployment levels will increase every single read, every single month, until they get to 10.1% and beyond. And here's all the reasons. The layoffs from the Doge committee, a lot of those happened very recently, and they are not yet factored into the unemployment rate. Plus, we have this looming recession where, as I tell you, it doesn't matter when it starts, it's approaching. And as it approaches, then the unemployment rate continues to expand. Plus, there's been a lot of firings in the retail sector that have not yet been factored in. Meanwhile, hiring is completely shut down now. Not just in America, but a lot of places worldwide. If this tariff war is happening and it's confusing and uncertainty, which is the worst thing for stocks, all this uncertainty, no one knows what's going on. No business person is making any kind of commitment. You're not hiring somebody. It's a lot. When you hire somebody, you're making a commitment to them, and you're also making a commitment that your company has enough money to pay them. No company, very few companies are thinking right now about, okay, we've got to hire people. They're all just putting their heads down going, okay, how are we going to adapt to this commotion that's going on? So with no hiring, you're going to see all the other unemployed people factoring into the numbers. Meanwhile, it's not being replaced at the regular rate. And then I talk about the excessive counter tariffs from Mexico, European Union, maybe even Russia a little bit now, China, Canada. There's a lot of actions being taken against America, specific surgical actions. We're going to hurt that state that voted for Trump will not buy their milk or whatever. The point is, it's all moving around, and there's a lot of negatives that are going to happen to the American economy. At the same time, a once-in-a-lifetime thing is happening right now. Artificial intelligence, the efficiencies that it brings to bear, makes it very easy for a lot of companies, not most, well maybe most, but not all, to not hire people that can be replaced by artificial intelligence. It's pretty widespread right now, but it's only getting more and more widespread. Artificial intelligence is still evolving rapidly. It's already making it possible for businesses to completely cut out human workforces. But when you put all of these factors together, you can assume that we're going to be going at a breakneck speed right into double-digit unemployment, which feeds on itself. Unemployment feeds unemployment, which feeds unemployment. And what you don't want from a domestic scenario is a large number of certain groups of people that are unemployed. Young men, when there's a high unemployment rate in that group, then you always see increases in crime, violence, all sorts of social deterioration. And I go on to say that if you have a job, do what you can to make sure that you keep it. Because, sadly, before things get better, they are going to get a lot worse. And relatively soon. So when do we get to double-digit unemployment? I'm not calling a date. I'm just telling you every single read from here going forward. So we get to double-digit unemployment, 10.1% or higher. Until that point, every single read will be higher than the one before it. And even Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary for the Trump administration, agrees with us. He's acknowledged some signs that the economy is weak, despite the fact that you were told the exact opposite for so many years. The whole time I was shouting, saying, the economy is weak, and people didn't think it was because people on TV are telling you that it isn't weak, even though they have a vested interest. We've become addicted to this government spending. Scott Bessent says it's a detox period. I say it's a complete deleveraging, unwinding, and I think that's going to be so much more ugly than is characterized by this soft language of, oh, it's rolling over a bit and there's going to be a little bit of detox. The reality is people are going to be starving, going broke, committing suicide, breaking into their neighbors' houses. There's not a lot good coming out of this. And the soft language does a disservice to the people who are trying to take in the information to try and get an idea of what is actually going on. If you want an idea of what's really going on, you're going to want to be doing things like getting your own copy of the Peter Leeds Insider exclusive, which you can get if you're a Peter Leeds Insider, or subscribing to this channel, following along, and listening to what we're saying. Our message has not changed. I've been doing this for almost 30 years now, exactly this. 30 years. And the message has never changed. I'm just telling you the reality of the economy at any point in time. And right now, the reality of that economy says that you need to bolster yourself, help the people you care about land on your feet. And you can do that by being more in touch with me and keeping an eye on the information that I'm telling you.